Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Wednesday, November 5th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Yesterday, we talked about showing up. And I was trying to get the point across is that in order to be successful at anything, you have to be present. And there's going to be bad days. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Wednesday, the 5th of November of 2025. Yes, the girls are here and anxious. Yesterday we talked about how business is not just about the high points. It's about showing up when you don't want to do it, when you don't feel good, when you're tired out. Here's the real skivvy that most people won't tell you that are successful is that they had many a times and many a nights of just wanting to give up. Okay? But what separated that group from the other group is that they, as I said, put their big boy pants on and still pushed on. Does that always work? No, it doesn't. Because it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And I try to relate things that are both in your personal life and your business life. Because if you're not interested in starting a business, but you're looking for ways to better your life, then I want this channel to be both. So that it's relatable. And what I can tell you is there were many a nights that I wanted to give up, that I just was pulling my hair and saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. Most of you know that I have a good faith, a strong faith. I don't preach it. It's not for me to get you to convert or what have you. I feel that what you decide and what you choose is on your time. Nothing to do with me. But that helped me through many a nights because it got to the point of where I was worrying. I lay down in bed and I couldn't sleep because I was tossing and turning about things that just weren't going according to plan. And with me, I had to go back to the basics. And the basics was say your nightly prayer, give everything up to God that you have no control over, and get a good night's sleep. There's nothing you can do from the point you put your head on the pillow till the following morning anyways. Unless you're a person that gets up in the middle of the night and goes back to work again. But what I found with doing that helped me immensely because I wasn't running on, pure caffeine and nicotine. I was also getting a good night's sleep. And had I not done that, I don't know if I would have been successful. Because I'll be honest with you, I was right down to a frazzle because everything I tried didn't work. And it's not that it didn't work, it didn't work fast enough. And I think that's the other thing that people have an issue with is thinking that they need to become instant successes. And what I can tell you is if it came easy, it leaves easy, okay? The harder you work for something, the more time you put into it, the better chances are it's going to stick around for a while because you've worked long and hard to get what you got. And that doesn't matter whether it's buying a vehicle and getting it paid off, getting a mortgage on your house, getting it paid off, student loans. It's one of those things that's once you get it paid off, you have that sense of satisfaction, right? Of saying, okay, I did what I was supposed to and it worked out and I got a college education or, I got the vehicle. Maybe it's a piece of crap now, but that's kind of like how business is. If you're playing the short game, go play the lottery. You have just as much of a chance of winning big in business by going into the lottery than you do trying to be successful at business. Because I can tell you right now, it's not a a box of chocolates. Run, Forrest, run. You're constantly having to look at what you did right and what you did wrong. And then, we talk about time with experiences gets wisdom, right? So every time you do not succeed, if you can put that in the win column of looking at it and saying, what did I do wrong that caused this? Because I can tell you right now, it's more important to know why it failed than why it succeeded. If you are having success step after step after step, are you really learning? Can you say this is why it was successful? Or looking at why it failed and tearing it apart piece by piece and taking a look at it and saying, okay, this is where I went wrong. If you can look and define what went wrong, then that's in the win column, because now you have experience, not a good experience, but it's an experience that tells you what not to do. And that's what life is all about. It's growing up from infancy. The whole world is at your fingertips, right? And learning the difference between hot and cold, and right and wrong, and how lying is bad. As a child, you're sucking it all in, right? That's what I'm getting at when I try to relate this to people in their personal lives. Is that anything you have going on in your life, whether it's a relationship issue, getting along with your kids, communicating, work in general, if you can figure out what didn't work so that you don't repeat those, that will help you more than what did work. A lot of times when it comes to your spouse, your kids, work, it's not you per se, it's how you're going about it. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's just like me. If I'm talking to somebody and they're talking derogatory or pissed or this or that, am I really going to listen to a lot of it? Chances are I'm not. Why not? Because I don't want to hear it. I don't. And if you're a parent and all you do is scream and holler at your kids and they don't respond, ask yourself why. Because I can tell you screaming and hollering doesn't do a bit of good. Actually, my kids knew they were in trouble if I was quiet. And I talked in a lower voice. They're like, oh crap, we're in trouble now. I don't agree with screaming and hollering or hitting kids or this or that. I mean, spank on the ass, that's one thing. But it's your approach. And the same goes for your spouse. That you need to go back to the reason, and so do they, of why you got together in the first place. Because what ends up in life is you become busy. And what is busy? Busy is life events. You're working long hours. You're on the go all the time. The kids are taking up a lot of the time. And over a small amount of time or a certain amount of time, you and your spouse are no longer even communicating other than saying good morning or good night and I love you once in a while. You need to step out of that mouse trap or mouse maze, whatever you want to call it, that spinning wheel where the mice run on it. That's about what your life is at that point. Because you became, your life and your spouse's life and the kid's life, everybody became busy. So busy so that you're not actually knowing what's going on with each other at any point in time. You stop talking. You stop hanging out. You stop because everybody's tired. It's your approach. It is. And the quicker you stop that busyness and then approach your spouse and just give her a hug or a little bit of flowers, she'll probably think you did something wrong. Because that's usually what happens, right, guys? If we're doing something wrong and we get caught at it, flowers are our first instinct. But if you're genuine and you come at it at a different angle and take the busyness out and just say, I want quiet time. I want time with her or with him. And I want time with the kids that are good time. And one of the best ways to have quality time with your kids is have them put the phones and tablets down and just enjoy each other's company. When I was growing up, the family kitchen table was kind of the place we all got together and talked about our day while we were having dinner. And that was kind of sacred. And now I see families where the kids are spread out in the living room with a plate in their lap and a phone in their hand with a TV on, and nobody's talking. The more that goes on, the less connection you have with your family, and they have no connection with you. So you need to come at it in a different direction. Business is the same way. If you've been trying certain things and they're not working, if you can identify why it's not working, it might be because life has gotten so busy that you've lost your eye, took your eye off the ball of where it is that you want to go with this. And you're just sitting there on that wheel with the mouse going around, 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 and you're not gaining anything. You're just sitting there, churning energy off, running like a little bugger. So how do we change all that? The biggest change that you can do is just stop being busy. Tell yourself that you deserve some time off. Shut the computers down, get away from electronics, and just sit there and have quality time. Whether that's on the back porch with a cup of coffee where there's... See, up here, when I sit on my back porch and I look at the deer and wildlife and everything, we don't have a lot of traffic, so it's nice and quiet. So whatever your forte is, sitting down reading a book next to the wood stove, or, listening to your favorite podcast by Eric. I don't know. But if you can take a step away from it, just for a little bit, I find that when I'm embedded in it and I just churn and trying to find the right answer to what I need to figure out what's going on, a lot of times it'll come to me when I'm away from it. When I turn it off, I'm not busy and I'm just having a cup of coffee or hanging out with the dogs or what have you. And all of a sudden it's like a light goes on. That's when I get most of my inspiration of how to tackle problems. It's not when I'm embedded in it and I'm churning in it and I'm looking at everything that's going wrong and not looking at what's going right in my life. Everything becomes a negative connotation. If that makes any sense. See, the thing is a lot of times we get into that situation where we start to get burned out. And I can tell you what the symptoms are for getting burned out. You're starting to get agitated, pissy to be around, poor sense of humor, and just very little, what's the right word? Brain fog. But you're not relatable to a lot of other people. You don't want to listen to them, and they don't want to hear from you either, because all you do is complain. Because now you've gotten yourself into this situation where you're not seeing everything good that's going on in your life because you're so focused on what's not. If you can't enjoy what's going on good in your life and you're focused on what's not, you're going to be a sad sack. That's why I say you become busy, you're getting burned out, take a step away from it, take a good look at your life. I mean, if you're married, you got kids and the dog, and you've got a lot going for you. If you got a roof over your head, food in your cupboards, and nobody's starving or going without, that to me is a plus. I hope. The other thing is understanding you got to play the long game. You can't play the short game. If you're in there just for the short game, like I say, the lottery is a good situation. Uh, Going to Vegas and playing craps or whatever they call it. Most businesses that have become successful have started as a grassroots and gone through trials and tribulations and then gradually gained momentum each year that they were at it, right? And some businesses will grow faster than others depending upon, how good a business person you are. And you get to define where you want that business to go. Are you looking for something like with me where I was selling even overseas? I decided that I would market everywhere except for like China, Russia. I mean, there were countries that I would not ship to because they were high scam countries. But I didn't want to leave any out. I sent a lot to Mexico, a lot to the UK, and they were willing to pay the shipping to get it. And I would just ship international overseas. But you may be in a business where you're just in a small town and you're trying to get maximum number of people in that small town to come to your business. And I can tell you, you are going to be probably the biggest plus or minus of that business. You are. I mean, you can carry the best of the best and most wanted by everybody in town. But if you're an a-hole or you're standoffish or this or that, people are not going to want to come spend time and help you out. They are. Would you want to help somebody out that was just negative all the time and weren't happy to see you come into the store? No, it's the store owner and customers, the employees in that business, of how well they interact with the customers when they come. And the better the interaction, the more often those customers will want to help and come back when they need something else. Why? Because they felt like that you were glad to have them there. That you wanted them there to enjoy themselves and have a good time and, of course, buy whatever you're selling. It's not about price point. I'm telling you right now. I've seen businesses where the owner and the employees were astronomical, beautiful. And the stuff that they had in that shop that were for sale were twice what it was being sold anywhere else for. But yet their customers were paying the premium to get just that. But were they? They were paying a premium to get great customer employees and a great owner. That you have to keep into your head too. Because I've seen so many businesses compete with each other and race to the bottom. And for you guys that don't know what race to the bottom is, let's just take a gas station. You got two of them in town and they're both at $3 a gallon. Well, this one over here decides to drop it 5 cents to motivate customers to come to him instead of coming to the other guy. Okay? And then this guy over here, he drops it 10 cents, so he's 5 cents below that one. And they keep going down. That's the race to the bottom, to the point where neither one of them are making any money. The customers that are using their services, their gas and stuff, are loving it. But the businesses are not doing well at all. I'm not saying to have the two of them get together and make a pact that they won't do it again, but I'm telling you right now, if you got a customer that's willing to skip you for 5 cents and go to your competitor, it's not your customer to start with. Because if they're motivated by 5 cents, that tells me that they're not a true good long-term customer that you want to have. They're just chasing wherever is cheaper. And the next shop that opens up in town that offers a labor rate half of what you're doing, and your customer heads for that one, good riddance. Good riddance. A lot of it is on how you handle your failures. What I'm trying to get across is business is not all a box of chocolates. It's a constant fight. And it's a constant internal fight of, do I keep going or do I stop? That is going to be different for everybody. But what I can tell you is that anybody that's been in business has had more bad days than good days, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And how well you treat those bad days to turn them around into a positive is going to be based on you and you alone and how you're able to handle things. So we know if we stop getting busy, we get a better look at what's going on. If we stay in that busy mousetrap, the mouse spinning wheel, then we're not seeing actually what is going wrong. We're just still spinning on that wheel until we fall over and drop. Again, that's life too. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and reassess and decide what's most important to you. See, some business people that become successful end up they get divorced. The kids won't talk to them. Are they really successful? My answer is no. To me, someone that is truly successful is able to run a business and a home life in a positive way. In a positive way. You know, I think I've told you this before, but when I was in my 20s, I thought it was more important to provide than it was to be there, to be present. And I was working 2 and sometimes 3 jobs because I wanted my kids to have it better than I ever had. But what they wanted most was me being present. It wasn't the presents that were being brought in. And that you're going to have to figure out on your own. Are you going to be present? Or are you going to be out in left field chasing that dream of a business and letting everything on this side crumble to the ground? Give that some thought. Put in the comments what your thoughts are on it. You know, you guys that have businesses, you guys that can relate to, your home life and how to look at things. Take every negative and turn it into a positive. Don't allow yourself to become too busy. And please don't get despaired and start getting that skewed look of being pissed and agitated and like that. If you start seeing that, it's a warning sign to say, take a pause, stop. What is causing this? Is it lack of sleep? Is it things aren't going the way you hoped? Sometimes you have to look at what you have and be thankful that you have it. Instead of looking for something that you don't have, thinking that you need it. What you need, you already have. What you want is a successful business. On that note, you guys enjoy your Wednesday. We'll be here bright and early tomorrow morning for another episode of The Weekday.